How come Homeland Security and the NTSB aren't all over this? Cheshire's ID was a league alert. Authorities didn't pick it up, and her jet didn't follow its flight plan. Flew under the radar, literally. But the watchtower auto-tracked the jet and recorded the crash.
Then why isn't the league here? Because our boy Wonder has some mighty hacking skills and arranged to get the alert first.
And because Cheshire in that case represent our unfinished business. Where are the bodies?
Here's one. And it is stunning.
I am flora, not fauna. I am foliage, not trees. What am I? Come on, you can get this. I am shrubbery, not grass. What am I?
Ambush.
Didn't you think we'd be tipped you were on Cheshire's trail? We're tired of your interference, kiddies. This is the end game. Ordered from above and executed by their master strategist. Mwah.
Miss Martian, is everyone linked?
Yes.
I want to caution you. The video does depict the shooting death of Lavoy Finicum. At approximately 4:25 on Tuesday, January 26, 2016, the FBI and OSP began a law enforcement action to bring into custody the people riding in two separate vehicles as they traveled between the Wildlife Refuge and John Bay, Oregon. Throughout this time, agents and troopers are providing verbal commands to the occupants to surrender. When we come back to the video, the white truck leaves the scene at a high rate of speed. It travels some distance, quickly approaching a vehicle roadblock. As the truck approaches the roadblock, there is a spike strip across the road, but it appears Finicum missed it as he attempted to drive around the roadblock. He nearly hits an FBI agent as he maneuvers to the left. The truck gets stuck in the snowbank. Finicum leaves the truck and steps through the snow. Agents and troopers on scene had information that Finicum and others would be armed. On at least two occasions, Finicum reaches his right hand toward a pocket on the left inside portion of his jacket. He did have a loaded 9mm semi-automatic handgun in that pocket. At this time, OSP troopers shot Finicum. Finicum leaves the truck and steps through the snow. Agents and troopers on scene had information that Finicum and others would be armed. On at least two occasions, Finicum reaches his right hand toward a pocket on the left inside portion of his jacket. He did have a loaded 9mm semi-automatic handgun in that pocket. At this time, on at least two occasions, Finicum reaches his right hand toward a pocket on the left inside portion of his jacket.
Already waiting. Already waiting. Let's go back.
I am shrubbery, not grass. What am I?
Ambush.
Jacket. He did have a loaded 9mm semi-automatic handgun in that pocket. At this time, OSP troopers.
So, I bet 20 bucks there was a guy on this side off into the forest as well. If he drives to the left, you get him. If he drives to the right, you get him. Oh, those two are on the wrong side. Sorry. Oops.
To ghost and psychic powers.
I did it again. I did it again. I'm a fucking idiot. Having technical difficulty. Okay, I think we're good.
From UFOs to ghosts and psychic powers, history is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now and learn the stuff they don't want you to know. Here are the facts. General Albert Pike was born in December of 1809. He was exceptionally bright and allegedly accepted into Harvard, although he didn't have the money to attend. Today, Pike is remembered as a pioneer in the early courts of Arkansas, a Confederate officer during the Civil War, and a central figure in the development of Freemasonry. He's still the only Confederate officer with a statue in Washington, D.C. History is divided on Pike. He's been called a genius, a villain, and an occultist. But that's not all there is to this story. Some people believe Albert Pike was more than just a lawyer and a general. Much, much more. Here's where it gets crazy. Depending on who you ask, Albert Pike may have been the leader of the Ku Klux Klan, a Satan worshiper, or even the king of the Freemasons. In The Unseen Hand, A. Ralph Epperson argues that a great deal of historical events have been planned in advance. Epperson believed that Albert Pike was at the center of this conspiracy and the highest-ranking Mason in the United States, or possibly the world. Pike is also accused of being a member of the Illuminati and a harbinger of a coming new world order. The stories about Pike's alleged occultism and villainy are both varied and, to a large degree, impossible to prove. For example, some claimed he had a magic bracelet that allowed him to commune with the devil. Others claimed that he helped found the Ku Klux Klan, or that President Andrew Johnson considered Pike his Masonic superior. Masonic databases deny the allegations about Pike and the Klan, but that hasn't stopped conspiracy theorists, especially anti-Masonic theorists, from making this claim. Anti-Masonists believe that Freemasons have destroyed most of the records proving Pike's involvement in sinister affairs. However, one claim takes attention over all the others. In 1871, Pike allegedly sent a letter to an Italian political activist named Giuseppe Mazzini, in which he describes a curious dream about 3 world wars. In this letter, Pike apparently outlines specific events leading up to World Wars I and II. Additionally, Pike pushed for the organization of communism, Nazism, Zionism, and other international movements as tools to escalate these conflicts. According to this letter, the Illuminati will provoke a 3rd World War by creating religious conflicts in the Middle East. After this war is ended, the letter claims that nihilists and atheists will create bloody turmoil, leading the world's disillusioned masses to follow Lucifer. For those who believe this conspiracy theory, Pike's letter accurately predicts the course of world events. However, there are several problems with this letter, and the vast majority of historians believe it's a hoax. Why? First, there's the use of anachronistic terms like Nazi, an abbreviation of National Socialist Party, which wasn't coined until decades later.
Now, isn't that interesting? Let's watch this. Different episode.
Chose my best friend Garth over me, while my best friend on the surface world aims an arrow at my chest. We were told you were the mole, but we have reason to doubt.
Forget doubt. I was the mole. Batman and Tornado said you're a Cadmus clone, like me. That explains it. I was a sleeper agent, pre-programmed to infiltrate the League. I think Sportsmaster was my handler.
I hear you go by Red Arrow now. More like Broken Arrow.
He had a key phrase, Broken Arrow, that could shut me down, put me in a hypnotic state to steal secrets for his superiors, or incorporate further programming. I'd then carry out all orders subconsciously, completely unaware of what drove me. I think one of those orders was to focus suspicion on the three of you. I'm sorry.
How did Batman discover this and prevent you from betraying the League?
He didn't.
The entire League is under the complete mental domination of Vandal Savage. Red Arrow seems to have been his means. His method was something Savage referred to as Starotech. An alien bioorganism infused with nanotechnology and magic. It shuts down the mind's autonomy, allowing Savage to reprogram the individual to suit his needs. Even my inorganic brain was not immune. But the process requires 0.16 nanoseconds to fully integrate with its host's nervous system. That delay allowed me to create an internal subprogram, which would disconnect my power cells if I attempted to infect another person. Fortunately, the Starotech is body-specific. As John Smith, I am now free of outside control.
This Starotech, it worked on superpowered humans, 4 flavors of alien, an android, even Dr. Fate, defeating all of you without a fight.
Indeed, a remarkable achievement, one not easily countered.
Now, watch this. Now, you think that's just comic book shit. Now, this is reality.
To ghost and psychic powers, history is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now and learn the stuff they don't want you to know. Here are the facts. The Nazi Party ravaged Europe during World War II, killing soldiers and civilians alike. But the world did not learn the full scope of these atrocities until the end of the war. Madness was at work. Citizens of Europe were murdered for the crime of being Jewish, Roma, or some other undesirable minority. The Nazi Party had committed genocide. The profound evil of this act haunts the modern world, and Nazis have been linked to stranger things as the years go on. To skeptics, these stories are either exaggerated or works of fiction, proving only the human fascination with evil. But to crypto historians, one question remains unanswered. Did the Nazis practice magic? Here's where it gets crazy. Crypto historians study historical revisionism, which means they try to prove alternatives to mainstream history. Conspiracy theories about Nazis and the occult often center on 2 or 3 claims. First, that Nazis were occultist or pagans, practicing strange religions and rituals. Second, that Nazis believed they were descended from an ancient super race, believed to have lived in Atlantis, Lemuria, or Thule. Third, that Adolf Hitler was either able to perform supernatural feats or was himself possessed. In The Morning of the Magicians, Jacques Berger and Louis Powell claimed that some Nazis were members of an occult group called the VRIL Society, which aimed to combine magic and science, creating psychophysical devices. VRIL Society, which aimed to combine magic and science, creating psychophysical devices. VRIL Society, which aimed to combine magic and science, creating psychophysical devices. Most.
So, it's good. Now check this out.
That delay allowed me to create an internal subprogram, which would disconnect my power cells if I attempted to infect another person. Fortunately, the Starotech is body-specific. As John Smith, I am now free of outside control.
This Starotech? It worked on superpowered humans, 4 flavors of alien, an android, even Dr. Fate, defeating all of you without a fight?
Indeed, a remarkable achievement, one not easily countered.
I'm sorry, but how is it that you are no longer enslaved?
No Starotech for starters, just my Cadmus programming. Once I had satisfied its last parameter, my mind began to clear. I was the mole.
Yes. Yes, you were.
I'm sure Savage planned to Starotech me, but he paused to ask. I escaped.
Now, let's go a little bit further ahead.
Despite an initial setback, I was able to reinfect Red Tornado and Red Arrow.
As well as the entire team. They await reprogramming back on Earth.
I think not. You see, Starotech does not reprogram the mind. It offers us remote control of it.
We know exactly who's infected and who's not, and none of you are!
But that is easily rectified.
Now listen close. Who is Vandal Savage?
50,000 years of life.
50,000 years of life.
50,000 years of life. And nothing ever troubled me as much as the founding of the Justice League. Dedicated to maintaining society's calcified status quo, the League would protect mankind from disaster, crime, tragedy of any kind. Had you never heard of the survival of the fittest? In essence, you heroes sought to protect humanity from its own glorious evolution. As such, you forced my more enlightened colleagues and myself to organize a response. We created or co-opted networks of operatives, placed key individuals in key positions, made certain we were on the cutting edge of all new technologies. Genetic engineering, biochemical engineering, robotics, nanorobotics, even techno-sorcery. Not to mention every conceivable method of mind control. Cold, hard science and a little misdirection. And now you champions of stagnation have become our agents of change, forcing the human race to evolve on a more advanced schedule, allowing the Earth to take its rightful place at the center of the cosmos.
Okay, let's watch the rest of this.
Some Nazis were members of an occult group called the VRIL Society, which aimed to combine magic and science, creating psychophysical devices. Most consider these claims nonsensical. Other facts are more disturbing. The Deutsche Arbeiterpartei, which later transformed into the Nazi Party, was sponsored by an occultist group named the Thule Society. Thule members Dietrich Eckart and Rudolf Hess even believed that Hitler's rise was prophesized. According to mainstream author Nicholas Goodrick Clark, German occultist Karl Marie Villegut did have an impact on the Nazi Party, using his esoteric symbolism and SS rituals, and likely persuading Himmler to arrest his rivals. As for the second claim, the idea of a mythical super race is not unique to Germany. While it is true that some members of the early Nazi Party believed stories of ancient Aryan super civilizations, most Nazis did not. Yet this fascination with mysticism was real. In 1938, the SS officer Ernst Schaffer led an expedition to Tibet to glean the secrets of Tibetan mysticism and to research pseudoscientific cosmology popular with the Nazis. The third claim, that Hitler was somehow possessed, is both the easiest to understand and the most difficult to prove. That a single man could order the death of millions falls outside the definition of humanity. Father Gabriel Ormoth, a Catholic priest and exorcist for Rome, famously stated that he believed Hitler and Stalin were almost certainly possessed by the devil. How could such a claim be proven? There is no scientifically accepted evidence of possession or of spirits. When it comes to conspiracy theories, Nazis crop up as often as international bankers and UFOs. Unlike some theories, there are grains of truth within the claims of the crypto-historians attempting to revise European history. Skeptics argue that these facts have been used to build works of fiction. Yet it is true that some Nazis practiced mysticism and attempted to make the Nazi Party a vehicle for their beliefs. To what end? After all, the Nazis lost the war. It would appear that Nazi magic is a case of psychological rather than supernatural horror. Unless, of course, there's something they don't want you to know.
And when we go back here, it's very interesting because
bloody turmoil, leading the world's disillusioned masses to follow Lucifer. For those who believe this conspiracy theory, Pike's letter accurately predicts the course of world events. However, there are several problems with this letter, and the vast majority of historians believe it's a hoax. Why?
Here's the problem. It says that he predicts things. So
destroyed most of the records proving Pike's involvement in sinister affairs. However, one claim takes attention over all the others. In 1871, Pike allegedly sent a letter to an Italian political activist named Giuseppe Mazzini, in which he describes a curious dream about 3 world wars. In this letter, Pike apparently outlines specific events leading up to World Wars I and II. Additionally, Pike pushed for the organization of communism, Nazism, Zionism, and other international movements as tools to escalate these conflicts. According to this letter, the Illuminati will provoke a 3rd World War by creating religious conflicts in the Middle East. After this war is ended, the letter claims that nihilists and atheists will create bloody turmoil, leading the world's disillusioned masses to follow Lucifer. For those who believe this conspiracy theory, Pike's letter accurately predicts the course of world events. However, there are several problems with this letter, and the vast majority of historians believe it's a hoax. Why? First, there's the use of anachronistic terms like Nazi, an abbreviation of National Socialist Party, which wasn't coined until decades later. Secondly, a notorious French prankster known as Leo Taxil confessed to the hoax, claiming that he had penned this letter himself. Third, claims about the letter have expanded over time, including the addition of new material or misquotations of the original letter. Fourth, Albert Pike was a lifelong proponent of states' rights or small government. It seems odd that someone so against federal power would work to make a one-world government. Yet conspiracy theorists such as Edith Starr Miller and William Guy Carr believe the hoax claims are simply an attempt to bury the truth. For those who believe this letter is genuine, the claims of skeptics and historians are only further evidence that there's something they don't want you to know about Albert Pike.
Alright, we have one more. See if they'll let us do these for educational purposes. I want you to listen to what the first thing they say as a group. Don't get caught.
Alright, be good. If you can't be good.
Don't get caught.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Okay, who can give me the derivative of x?
What's going on?
Did you guys see that?
The Odyssey satellite received images of an object moving past Mars.
It's right over us.
I want to see.
I didn't know it then, but that was the last normal day of my life.
We have reason to believe there's an imminent threat to this location.
All right, stay with your sister.
The waves have begun. It started coordinated attacks on metropolitan areas.
The first wave knocked out all the power. Then the second wave hit. An earthquake strong enough to shake the entire planet.
Cassie! I got you.
With the third wave, disease spread across the world. By the fourth wave, they were among us.
The others have the ability to inhabit human hosts. They could be anywhere. We can't trust anyone anymore.
The others took my brother, and I'm gonna go get him.
You will learn to think, move, and fight like soldiers.
I want to be ready.
You won't get very far on your own. Grab the gun and snap my hand away. Good.
I was supposed to fight them if I don't even know what they are.
What are you? They took everything from me.
My sister's coming.
Sam! This is our world. This is our home. Our only choice is to take it back.
Drop it!
I know you're human.
How?
Because if you were one of them, you would have shot me already.
Alright, so what wave do you think we're in? So I know a lot of you are embarrassed of me or ashamed to admit that you view and stuff. I recently noticed I have like 6,000 viewers, you know, so you know, all praise be unto the Lord thy God of the children of Israel, the Creator. I am that I am, the Lord thy God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Hiya, hiya. Ta-ta, yeah. Wah-ya! Alright, so let's get started. So, if we turn to Genesis chapter 15. Genesis chapter 15. Now I'm just going to start reading. All you got to do is pause the video, get your Bible. If I start reading from the Bible and you don't have your Bible in front of you, then I'm just making shit up, like, to you. You have a fairy tale belief that I'm going to constantly tell you the truth. If I show you verification of something, then you should have a copy of it yourself if you relate to it. Some people say, hey, what do you want us to do? Because, you know, we have extra time or extra energy or even extra funding. This is what I want you to do. I want you to pick a subject that you've learned over time. Pick a subject that you're very familiar with, that you can kind of talk about. This is what I want you to do. I want you to get an encyclopedia printout of it. Okay, if it's Isus, you just get a printout. It's like a 2-page printout. But if you blow up the words so it's easy for whoever you're talking to in person, face to face, it'll be like 3 or 4 pages, which is 20 cents at the library if you don't have a printer. Take a highlighter, highlight the parts that you think are relevant, and just talk to people. And then, you know, have you ever had a job as a telemarketer and they give you basically like a script? You know, they give you a piece of paper to read when you're on the phone with people. It's the same thing, right? And eventually when you're making those calls, like eventually you memorize the script. and then you're kind of bored with the script, you know, and you've made some notes or something like that, or you think about other things because you've already memorized the script. It's the same thing that's going to happen with this little 20 cents that you paid for some information to highlight and talk to people with, so they can see it for themselves. The same thing I do for you. You see it for yourself, right? We're supposed to show each other, not tell each other. Publish. And what do book publishers do? They show their sources. See? We're supposed to show and publish and print. That's what we're supposed to be doing right now. We're supposed to teach and preach. Baptism is pagan. Right? I'm just saying. The scripture says preach, teach, and baptize. But baptism is pagan. It is not Levitical law. It is New Testament bullshit. So, Malachi says the Lord changes not, so it doesn't matter that some other thing says, I'm the Son of God, I've taken over for God. The Lord says He changes not. There's the Old Testament, the testimony. There's the New Testament, the test, the quiz. You've been quizzed before. Do you accept Jesus? Yes. Fail. Do you understand that? I hope you understand. If you don't understand it, just rewind it a little bit and hear it again. Turn down the volume a little bit so you hear it at a softer rate. God said no other God and hands the world over to Lucifer, and Lucifer props up a different God, which is Lucifer, as Isaiah chapter 14 says. The whole world's tricked. Now, listen, because your Christianity tells you forget about those slave Israelites. Shh, because the whole world calls it Christian slavery. We're the only one that just calls it slavery. We just dumb slaves. That's all it is. All forefathers signed the Indian treaties in Washington, D.C. If you go to the Washington videos, my first trip to Washington, I tell you right there when I'm showing you some of this stuff. We're sovereign from them. The little boat goes one way, the big boat goes another. The canoe and the ship. The people of the ship cannot administer authority over the people of the canoe, and the people of the canoe cannot administer authority over the people of the ship. They came in a ship and we were already here in canoes. They broke the treaties. We went to war, we went into slavery, we lost our titles and our knowledge that it was our land because they took our language away from us and taught us other things. No. Genesis chapter 15 verse 13, and he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they serve I will judge, and afterwards shall they come out with great substance. Now listen close. We are going to turn to Deuteronomy 32. Now, do we live in a timeline where we have books that show in the 1600s that we're the Aboriginals? They came here and found us, right? You just saw that in the last videos when I showed you the dumb diverses. We have rights to conquer you. They thought they were in Asia. Now, here it says in Deuteronomy 32 and 49. No, it says, get thee up under this mountain, Abarim. Now, that's a mountain. It's mountain of Abarim unto Mount Nebo. So on the mountain, there's a mount, and it's called Mount Nebo. So that's a mount with at least 2 peaks. Now, when we go online, Mount Nebo has 3 peaks. And here's the thing. One peak is higher than the other. 2 peaks. So you have 2 peaks here, and you have 1 peak that's like that. And they're all connected. It's very interesting. But again, they claim, I've showed you this before, I believe I showed you this before, where you can open it, Mount Nebo, Utah. And they show you that the first thing that you see is the picture, the image of a mountain with 3 peaks connected. Alright. 32, Deuteronomy 32 and 49, get thee up into this mountain, Abarim, unto Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab. That is over against Jericho, and behold, the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel for a possession. Do you understand that? Over here, it's a land that is not ours. We're a stranger there. And here, it's given to us as a possession. Now listen to this. In Deuteronomy 32, prior to Moses climbing the mountain to see it, it says that 32 and 15, and 16, excuse me. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods, with abominations, provoked him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to God, but to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. Of the rock that begot thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten God that formed thee. I.e. the Creator that formed thee. That's creating something. Formed thee, you're talking to a man, so that's creating man. Come on. This is simple, equational, blah, 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 blah. 32 and 19. And when the Lord saw it, he had abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and daughters. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. So he's going to go and look into the future. For they are a froward, perverted, American word, perverted, froward generation. Baby got back. Children in whom is no faith. Twerking. And they have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. Christ. Crustus. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. Bling, bling, bitches. Bling, bling. And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. Genesis 10. Genesis 10. Genesis 10. Genesis. Now, these are the generations of the sons of Noah: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And under them were sons born after the flood. The sons of Japheth: Gomer and Magog and Madi and Javan and Tubal and Meshech and Tirzah. And the sons of Gomer: Ashkenazi and Ribith and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan: Elisha and Tarshish and Kittim and Dodanim. These were the isles of the Gentiles. These were the isles of the Gentiles. Excuse me. By these were the isles of the Gentiles. Excuse me. Genesis 10 and 5. Listen. By these were the isles of the Gentiles, divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, in their nations. Now, listen to this. Let's go back to Genesis 9. Now, here is a prophecy for Ham touching up on who? Noah. Ham touching up on Noah. This is what it says. Are you ready? 25. Genesis 9 and 25. No, I'm just playing. 9 and 25. And he said, cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be under his brother. And listen. And he said, blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. God shall enlarge Japheth. God shall, the people of the isles, right? Those are isles, right? God shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall what? Dwell in the tents, 10,000. Dwell in the housing of Shem. Right? And Canaan shall be his servant. Right? So the Israelites promised slavery, right? And then the Canaanites are promised to be servant of Shem, right? So, check this out. Let's read this again. Deuteronomy 32 and 49. Get thee up into this mountain, Abram, unto Mount Nebo, mountain Abarim, unto Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab. That is over against Jericho, and behold the land of Canaan. From Louisiana, the Cane something river in Louisiana, to up in Canada, you got Cane this and Cane that rivers, not to mention Canada. Come on, everything like east of the Rocky Mountains is like Cain's land. Land of Canaan, which is in the land of Shem, because remember, Canaan broke the land contract in the book of Jashir. Now listen. Since in the land of Moab that is over against Jericho, and behold the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel for a possession. Right there, God's giving us the land of Canaan, because Canaan broke the land contract, so the Creator has every right to kick him off. See, if there's a land contract, the Creator legally doesn't want to break the agreement, because he says he changes not when he makes a promise, right? So if Tubal's in the right place, then the Lord's not mad at Tubal. Right or wrong? I mean, does that make sense logically? From a heavenly legal perspective? Fair is fair. Fair has nothing to do with skin color. Now listen, 50. So the land is now ours. Now listen. He says to Moses, 32, Deuteronomy 32 and 50, and die in the mount whither thou goest up, and be gathered unto the people. So when the people see that Moses died, they'll gather him and bring him down the mountain, and be gathered unto the people, unto thy people, as Aaron thy brother died in Mount Hor, and was gathered unto his people, because ye trespassed against me among the children of Israel at the waters of Meribah Kadesh. There's 19 right there. I'm going to keep reading. In the wilderness of Zin, because ye sanctified me not in the midst of the children of Israel. Yet thou shalt see the land before thee, but thou shalt not go thither unto the land which I give the children of Israel. Okay, so since the whole world has a Bible to some degree with these writings in Deuteronomy, the whole world knows that the land is ours. There is a game going on, and this is why Chris Rock said, if you want to hide something, put it in a book. You're not programmed to read. You're programmed to listen. You're strong worshipers. You're spiritually strong. You are spiritually strong. And you know it. But if you're not worshiping the thing that created you, honor thy father, right? If you're not worshiping he who created you, then you're wasting your spiritual talent. Now, we're going to go to Deuteronomy 34. And Moses went up from the plains of Moab unto the mountain of Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, that is over against Jericho. And the Lord showed him all the land of Gilead unto Dan, and all Naphtali, and the land of Ephraim, and Manasseh, and all the land of Judah, unto the utmost sea, and the south, and the plain of the valley of Jericho, and city of palm trees unto Zor. And the Lord said unto him, This is the land which I swear unto Abraham. Hence Mount Abraham, Mount Abraham is in Maine. This is the land which I swear unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, saying that I will give it unto thy seed. I have caused thee to see it with thine eyes, but thou shalt not go over thither. You will not go any further. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. And now listen, this is key. Deuteronomy 34:6. And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, over against Beth Peor, but no man knoweth of his sepulchre unto this day. Amen. Say it. Until. I meant to say unto, but that's kind of funny. Alright, so back to the videos.
Zion National Park.
I'll make sure you heard that. Because it says Moab Desert is in Utah, and this is Zion National Park in Utah.
Zion National Park.
So, listen, we're going to watch these. And all you people that have no faith, like the Bible says you don't, I want you to watch how many times you hear anything. When it says rainbow point, remember, that has to do with rainbows have to do with the covenant. Okay? Alright, I'm not saying the covenant was there. I'm just saying, like, pay attention, like it's a quiz game. Pay attention how many things have to do with the Bible or spirituality.
Zion National Park.
ourselves enveloped by the canyon walls of Zion National Park. Massive sandstone cliffs of cream, pink, and red that soar into a brilliant blue sky. Located near Springdale, Utah, at the junction of the Colorado Plateau, the Great Basin, and the Mojave Desert, Zion is Utah's oldest national park, created in 1919. To the adventurous, Zion resounds with a blatant challenge. The Narrows. At the northern end of the Zion Valley, a trail bordering the Virgin River leads to a spectacular 16-mile gorge. Its massive canyon walls and excessively narrow chasm attract the adventurous from around the globe. Or one of the world's most dramatic and most dangerous hikes. Once inside the Narrows, there is no trail. At times, you must wade through the canyon's shallow waters, passing rocks pouring tears, skirting grottos lushed with hanging gardens. The rocks are slippery, the water frigid, and the currents swift. In some places, the perpendicular walls are less than 20 feet apart, yet more than 2,000 feet high. Their shadows shade verdant pools and falls, water-loving flora and fauna. At other times, you quickly grasp a handrail and ease cautiously along a knife-edged ridge. This short but rewarding excursion is to Canyon Overlook. This trail winds to the most heavenly outlook in the park, Angel's Landing. It's a strenuous climb with drop-offs on both sides. To make it, one needs a strong body, thews of iron, and nerves of steel. The view from the top is ample reward. Footprints left by dinosaurs and fossils of shellfish from a prehistoric sea show how far back this land really goes. Attempts to farm it were made by Mormons. Looking far over the valley, one Mormon farmer declared, "These great mountains are natural temples of God. We can worship here as well as in the man-made temples of Zion, the heavenly city of God. Let us call it Little Zion." When Brigham Young visited in 1870, he was appalled by the comparison. He soundly affirmed that this place was not Zion. So, for a number of years, the area was called Not Zion. Yet it was with biblical reverence that those Mormons named these 150 million year old formations. The Three Patriarchs. The West Temple.
Wait. So they're giving the Mormons credit for naming them, right? So the Mormons named it the Three Patriarchs, and we just read a scripture that says, "I give this land to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." Right? These were the first three patriarchs, right? So just keep that in mind. They already said Angel's Landing is one of the other areas named in Zion Park.
Three Patriarchs. The West Temple. The White Throne. Today, Brigham Young's Not Zion is more brazen than biblical, attracting hikers and bikers, horseback riders, and bird watchers. On second thought, there is something almost biblical, something transcendent that permeates this park. As poet Mark Strand puts it, colors seem to stream down the sides of the great gorge that is Zion to the Virgin River below. Its sandstone towers not only glow in the sunlight, they radiate a peculiar warmth to everything in the park. There is something oddly intact about Zion, as if it were the work of not only natural forces, but of a master designer.
So you can hear it yourself that, you know, how they're highlighting, you know, it's a biblical place, you know.
Zion National Park.
I won't stop now. That's great.
We soon find ourselves enveloped by the canyon walls of Zion National Park. Massive sandstone.
Okay.
Bryce Canyon National Park.
And this is Utah as well.
Snow softens the rugged beauty of a kindred park. In southwestern Utah, blanched by the pale winter light, lies Bryce Canyon National Park. Remotely located, it spans 35,000 acres on the southern edge of the Ponsagunt Plateau. Although it draws considerably fewer visitors than nearby Grand Canyon National Park, its vistas are no less beautiful. Snowpack trails offer an added challenge to adventure-seeking hikers. The canyon, which is more a natural amphitheater than a canyon, is named after pioneers who first settled here. Scottish immigrants, Ebenezer Bryce, and his wife Mary. It has been given other names. A cave without a ceiling. A forest of stone. Visitors find exploring the hoodoos, stone columns of mystery and splendor, one of the park's great adventures. Are created by insidious erosion, from water freezing and expanding in the rocky recesses, and the process that makes them destroys them. The Paiute Indians called them red rocks standing like men. Today, park guidebooks detail a litany of named viewpoints, each an homage to spectacular vistas. Inspiration Point, Sunrise Point, Rainbow Point, and Natural Bridge, misnamed because it is actually a natural arch formed from some of the reddest rock in the Claron Formation. This amassment of monoliths is called the Silent City, which brings to mind poet Mark Strand's insightful writings on Bryce Canyon. The park's pinnacles and spires give it the look of a decayed city, silenced by the abrasions of time. We walk among its spires in crumbled crenellations, in steep and narrow canyons, as if we are wending our way through the streets of a medieval village. We might add that there is an otherworldliness about this geologic wonder. We walk softly, as if in a dreamscape.
We get a commercial. Yeah. Double O is there, huh?
Capitol Reef National Park. In the staggeringly distant past, in what is now the south central region of the state of Utah, planet Earth buckled. Subterranean turbulence forced up massive layers of rock, warping the Earth's crust with hundreds of miles of wrinkled ridge. That was 65 million years ago. Today, this geologic blemish is both a landmark and the namesake of Capitol Reef National Park. This 100-mile-long but very narrow park can be found stretching north and south of Utah's Highway 24 at the Fremont River Canyon. Once inside, this rugged geological ridge springs forth toward the heavens. There are places in the ridge where erosion has shaped domed peaks. When early pioneers first sighted them, they were struck by their resemblance to the Capitol in Washington, D.C. And there are nearly impassable areas where these immense ridges rise to 1,000 feet in height. Pioneers, on the lookout for landmarks, saw them as reefs. And so the area came to be known as Capitol Reef. Settlers tagged it with even more names. In numerous spots running the length of the so-called reef, there are hollows.
Now, unless you've been to the ocean, you've never seen reefs. Hence, these people are the people of the isles of the sea, which are islands and, long stretches of land in the sea, which are still called islands. Right? So they're used to seeing coral. And when you live on an island, you got a couple of trees and very little animals. When you eat all the animals that are on land, you have to go to the food in the sea. When you fish for a little bit and the fish gets away, some brave guy goes and dives into the sea and starts eating the shit in the sea because the fish gets away. Plus, we already know that some Europeans have SLC24A5 in their blood, which means that they have the same gene that zebrafish do. Excuse me. So that's genes are passed through sex. Period. So whatever.
Plantations, pool-like recesses that capture water during a rainstorm. Precious, precious water. Hence another label. The water pocket fold. The panorama of vast stones in fantasy forms and hues turned the dust-veiled eyes of those who first saw them to remembered images. This they called Chimney Rock. And this, the castle. In Cathedral Valley, night falls over the Temple of the Moon. And a new day dawns at the Temple of the Sun. A 1,000 years ago, prehistoric nomads settled here. They limbed their epic tale on canyon walls. The Paiutes, Native Americans who lived here later, called this region, wishfully, the land of the sleeping rainbow. They were among the first to farm
Sleeping rainbow, awaiting covenant.
This hard-baked earth.
Something that sleeps, sleeping rainbow. Something that sleeps eventually wakes up, right? It's not called dead rainbow.
Something that sleeps wakes up. Right? Future covenant. You know, sleeping rainbow.
Ever resourceful, for them the wild yucca was a source of food, drink, and fiber. Here, the seeds of wild flowers may lie dormant for as many as 10 years.
Did you hear that? Yucca plant. Food, drink, water.
The source of food, drink, and fiber. Here, the seeds of wild flowers may lie dormant for as many as 10 years, waiting for sufficient moisture.
See?
Before
you can grow anything in a desert as long as you got enough water. It's got to have enough moisture. They didn't told you nothing grows in a desert. Well, it does if you give it water.
Blooming and carpeting the land with color. In the 1880s, Mormons settled here and tried their hand at farming in the Fremont River Valley. Their church was a virile vanguard of frontier Christianity. If anyone could make the stubborn soil yield, it was a Mormon. They called their corner of the valley Fruta. And in flexing their collective muscle, these Mormons turned Fruta into flourishing orchards. For 80 years, they peddled their hard-won produce to cowboys and prospectors.
Excuse me.
And even runaway outlaws like Butch Cassidy. In 1937, they began leaving. By the outbreak of World War II, pupils closed their books for the last time at their little schoolhouse. And a valiant phase of a frontier epic came to an end. Today, Fruta is an oasis for wildlife. For the visitor, hiking and horseback riding are among the fun things to do here. You can pick your own fruit. Visit the remnants of the old Mormon homesteads with a taste of history. Because of Mormon settlers' toil and tenacity, this garden in the desert still blooms.
Okay, we get another commercial. Good for us.
What? Did you get the email? Nope, my computer's out of batteries. Legal Larry said we can't say team names, player names, or the word touchdown. I gotta solve it for that. I'll say touch, you say down. Let take that.
Arches National Park.
So this is Utah as well.
The state of Utah is graced by another national park. Nature is the architect. Arches National Park. The park is located in the canyon country of southeastern Utah. It's a wonderland of formations, landforms, and textures found nowhere else on Earth. Here, atop an underground salt bed, shaped and chiseled by erosion, stands the most extensive array of natural arches on Earth. Rising to the vast desert sky, like the ruins of a race of giants, are the arches which the park is named after. Nowhere else in the world can natural arches be found in such numbers? In this region, several thousand have been counted. Each arch differs in size and form, and they are ever changing. Water shapes them, knife-like winds whittle at them, erosion endlessly buffs them, and will one day slowly destroy them. Their fantasy shapes challenge our imaginations. We call this one, over 300 feet long, landscape arch. This, double arch. Turret arch. Not all are arches. Some are fancifully named formations. Sheep rock. The Three Gossips. Wall Street. The Parade of Elephants. The Fiery Furnace. This land is harsh. Erosion is constantly at work. Until the year 1940, the opening in Skyline Arch was blocked by a huge boulder. But erosion undercut the boulder's support, which shaped the spectacular arch we see today. As tempting as it may be to visiting daredevils, climbing the arches is strictly forbidden. A startling variation on multiple arches is balanced rock. 125 feet above the ground, on a massive stone shaft, a huge boulder weighing as much as 1,600 full-size automobiles is delicately balanced. As popular with visitors as this site is, it's outdone by the destination of these hikers. Delicate arch. A play with clay sort of arch that seems almost too fragile to stand. Yet, it has probably stood for centuries. Of the more than 2,000 arches here, this is the indelible memory that most visitors take away with them. This is the landmark arch. This is the icon, the treasured emblem of Arches National Park.
Alright, pretty sure. Yeah, we haven't looked at Canyonland, have we?
No! Savings! You can't skip this Geico ad because it's already over. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Skip. Alright, asshole.
Canyonlands National Park. Remote. Vast. Spectacular. Canyonlands National Park. West to the Colorado Plateau, the park is located in the southeastern part of Utah, an area rich in canyons. At the confluence confluence of the Colorado and Green Rivers, a mesa rises from sheer sandstone cliffs 1,000 feet into the air. Over the surrounding Canyonlands panorama, the Island in the Sky, a 43 square mile wilderness mesa. Rugged, harsh, primitive. A maze of unexplored canyons. A winding labyrinth of hazardous chasms. One of the most inaccessible regions in the United States. Cross the Colorado River from the maze, and you're in the Needles. Wilderness. Massive spires of rust and coral standing in twisted formation. Solid rock patterned with red and white bands, which were 270 million years in the making. Search the landforms of Needles, and you'll come across ancient Indian ruins.
Do you hear that?
And these prehistoric...
So if you search through Needles, you'll find ancient Indian ruins.
Search the landforms of Needles, and you'll come across ancient Indian ruins.
So you see, listen, you see what kind of gear she's got on? This is the kind of gear you need to go out there and live.
Search the landforms of Needles, and you'll come across ancient...
That's your new, that's your new closet. That's the kind of backpack I got. Alright. The more people that you group together with and everybody has a backpack and everybody's communicated to say who's going to carry what, the more different types of tools and things that you can carry.
And these prehistoric petroglyphs and pictographs.
Okay, so listen. Listen to this.
Search the landforms of Needles, and you'll come across ancient Indian ruins.
So there's different ruins there, and pictographs.
And these prehistoric petroglyphs and pictographs. Needles is also the site of the Cave Spring Trail. Here is where cowboys used to herd their cattle. Traces of what had been their camps are found here, in this cave. Cowboys no longer come to the cave to get water, but birds do. Nevertheless, this is cowboy country. Cowboys still tend cattle and acreage skirting the park. Just outside the park is Robber's Roost, where the infamous Wild Bunch hid out. The Roost's most celebrated outlaws are Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Best known as they were portrayed in a classic Hollywood Western. Those runaway outlaws have long since fled. But the bighorn sheep are still here, though very wary. Their skittishness is understandable. Before park protection, they'd been hunted almost to extinction. It's simply amazing. Their ability to skitter on the narrowest of ledges at the highest of heights.
It's called hooves.
While hiking, should you stumble on remote Horseshoe Canyon, you'll encounter a great gallery of prehistoric rock art, one of the most significant of North America. sinister, faceless, bigger-than-life figures hovering over you. Taller than humans,
robots.
There are those who believe that they are pictures
robots.
of one-time visitors from outer space. More likely, ritual rock art creations of nomadic archaic people who lived in these canyons several thousand years ago. Where the two rivers collide, the Colorado and the Green, the rivers that carved these canyons, they're transformed into raging whitewater. Rafters need permits to run the course, with a skilled river runner in charge. Here, the water's plunged 30 feet in just 1 mile. A jeep road over Elephant Hill is the most challenging trailway in the park. You need a four-wheel drive vehicle to climb it. Here, you'll see plenty of tricked-out cars chugging noisily up this rock-strewn slope. A sportier and increasingly popular way to negotiate these tortuous dirt roads is mountain biking. Stand on a park overlook and gasp at the spectacle before you. Canyon after canyon, reaching to the horizon.
Now, it's kind of hard to have a pack like this and deal with mountain biking. Okay? I want you to keep that in mind.
A sportier
the size bag
and increasingly popular way to negotiate these torches.
You see the size bag you need if you're on a bike, because it's too much weight to shift, back and forth and stuff. I mean, lo and behold, if you can do something like that, great, and strengthen your back and all that stuff. But again, if you we'll talk about this some more, about how different people will attempt to get out there. Greyhound isn't like other busing. Those buses. If you try to take a bike, they charge you. For taking the bike, they want you to disassemble it and put it in a box. And I think it's like 80 to, I don't know the pricing. I don't want to just make stuff up, but it's a good amount. It's a very good amount. And I personally don't have a car. Now, if I want to get to Utah, I would probably take Greyhound. So if I went to Greyhound, this is just per se, you open up one on your window. I know you're like, hey, I got a car. If you got a car, that's cool, but I'm going, to find this, you don't go home after you find, Moses, and after you find the Ark of the Covenant, you don't go home. What are you gonna go home for? What, guns? You don't need guns then. You need guns before then. You can go home for one cooked meal or something. I don't know. So let's say I'm going from my place is 44310, and we're in Akron, and I would want to go to Utah, and bus stops in Utah. Well, of course. Oh, look, there's all kinds of. Look at this. There's a Mount Ephraim, Utah. There's an Ephraim, Utah. Isn't that funny? I mean, come on. It doesn't get any better than that. You know, like little breadcrumbs in the ear on the way. Let's see if there's, oh wow, there's a bus stop in, oh wow, there's 2 bus stops in MOAB. You know, that just makes shit harder, right? Arrgh. You'll get dropped off in the wrong place. Let's say, school, mandatory school vaccination, right? That starts in September. Let's say it's September 16th or something like that. And add return trip, oh no. Passengers. Let's say 1 passenger. And let's hit search. Sorry, this is where we don't have a schedule that matches your selected destination. Let's go backwards. And we gotta do that again, which is their fault, not mine. They're not happy I asked so far ahead, right? Let's go. Akron, Ohio, yeah, okay, so let's go back. Okay, you know I want to do it by September and you want to know why. I mean, you know why now. So let's say May. Let's say May 10th, that just is a, you know. Oh. Robots suck. Alright, well, how close can you get me? What about MOAB instead of MOAB Hub? Alright, let's try. Just get me into Utah. Son of a bitch. What's popular in Utah? Who the hell knows what's popular in Utah? I don't recognize any of these damn cities. Mount Pleasant. Salt Lake City. There we go. That's recognizable. Let's yeah. Let's go. What's today? It's February? Yeah, oops. Yeah. Let's go March 7th. Come on, are you... You can't go Cleveland, Utah? Salt Lake City. Let's do that again. Let's do Cleveland. Cleveland, oh, yeah. Oh, that's reasonable. Oh, that's just an advertisement. Oh no, bullshit. Look at that. 3 transfers. So I'm on the bus for 43 hours. I'm on the bus for at least 2 days, you know, so, and look, it's $109. I can't believe that. I mean, crack for everybody, right? No, but seriously, that is wild that it's so cheap. Alright, so if I'm going to change passenger. I'll play with this later, but you can see that, you know, you can make your own, try your cities and see how much it is. You know, I mean, I expect this to be, a couple $100, and it's just $100. That's crazy. All praise the creator. So you can see, just to get out to Salt Lake City is one thing, you know. And if I did, if I go back and I go Utah, come on. And I go Salt Lake City. And then I go MOAB. And then let's say it's gonna take 2 days to get out there, so March 9th. See, it's loading, so it does that route. Akron to Cleveland's like 18 bucks. So you see right there, 64 bucks. I'm there more than half of what it takes to get out there. It takes 109. Half of that is 55 bucks. So 64. It's $9 more than half to get out there. Man, once you're out there, they start raking it in, huh? $20 fee to change date and time of whole trip. Yeah. So there you have it. It would cost you from Cleveland. It cost 100 and what? 9 and 64 is 73, 173 bucks. You know, plus tax. So 100, yeah, you know, so 2 bills close, you know, plus tax. You know, you're on the road 2 days. You're gonna eat 3 times a day, at least. Your ass is gonna be real numb. You might start buying road pillows and shit like that, and blankets, you know. But again, you don't come home from a trip like this, you know. You just. You know, and I don't mean that as, you know, a negative kind of thing. You know, it's just not something, you know. Hey, we found the Ark of the Covenant. I'll be home in 10 minutes. It doesn't happen. What are you going home for? I need my special goggles. I mean, you know, you know, and you know, there's nothing that we need to do in private. And this is why I'm showing you all this information. You know? You guys act like we're James Bond spies and shit. You know, we're not. We're fucking slaves. I know there's slaves among us that are, you know, Christ or nothing. You know, my dad said to me on the freaking phone, man, if Christ ain't real, what's life for? I'm just like, oh, I guess Moses said that too, right? When he was, you know, come on, you know, that's just insane, you know. I respect people have beliefs, but to be closed-minded about shit, you know, strong attitude and weak knowledge about your belief is that's just fucking ignorance. And this is why men that say they are Jews and are not, this is why they say American Christians are brain dead. When their Christ speaks, he tells you to go back to the Old Testament each time. When everything in the writing says go back to the Old Testament. Except for Paul. And then when he says, I and the Father are one, and then when you start understanding this Lord's Prayer, where it came from, this shit's outrageous. Oops. And then when you start going into real history to find Jesus the man, you don't. You find MOAB. Look, I preach to you. If I had a buddy that gave me money to finance shit, that would be my own personal MOAB. MOAB was a financer because he believed in what James was saying and doing, because he saw how the slaves were being treated and their fortune and heritage being taken away by the Romans. Trying to get a map of Moab Desert. You know, something we could look at to understand where stuff is, and it doesn't seem like I'll get that right now, so I don't want to continue and just make the video longer and longer trying to find maps that I don't quite understand yet. So I'll look for the maps later, another time, and I'll pick out some maps, and then we'll visualize some maps on the screen. You know, so you have some things to think about. You know what's going on in this country. You know it's ruled by wickedness. You know the Fourth Reich is coming because it's been predestined. Now if it's scheduled and these people are just following schedule, it's gonna happen. If it's been predicted, then it's most likely gonna happen. Just like there's righteous predictions or prophecies, there are wicked ones too. Now, I've shown you these series of videos that have to do with the Moab Desert, and the only thing that we have not looked at that Moabi Desert and surrounding areas, but the only thing that we haven't looked at is we haven't looked at the Grand Canyon. Now that stuff you can do on your own. I'm interested in what the Bible says, and if I find that the Moabi Desert and the Grand Canyon are linked, then that area becomes of interest. Now, I need people to understand with all their heart and whatever bit of faith they can muster, whether it be big or small. I need you to understand, at this point, everything else doesn't matter. I would appreciate it if you do not send me any information unless it has to do with Moses, Jeremiah, and the Moab Desert. Nothing else makes any sense right now. If they got a picture of dogmen and things on 411 missing people, irrelevant right now. The whole focus is on this desert. His body is there. The word says his body is there. Listen, if the desert of Moab is on the other side of the world, like they said, don't you think they'd have found it already? You know what wild goose chase is, right? I say, you know, I hid a piece of paper in my closet when I already know there's nothing in my closet. So you go looking for a piece of paper in the closet. You know, searching for something that in a spot it doesn't exist in. A wild goose chase. So what we gotta do, we have to find more information about this desert. There are plenty of people that live in the western area, you know, Vegas and things like that, you know, so we have to start communicating with each other. We're supposed to be preaching and teaching. We're not supposed to be playing around with this New Testament. That shit is Greek. So, get your game face on, because we're going to talk about some of the things that you need. Because we're going to the desert, alright? And you need more water than food. And we need to understand the maps about what places bring in water naturally. We need to understand the plants out there so we understand what plants give water naturally. And we have to understand in a way that we don't eat out the vegetation. It's very important. If we search and it takes a year, then we've got to survive a year off that vegetation. If we start with 25 and we grow to 3,000 or 10,000, then, you know, food's got to come from somewhere. So, you know, there's a lot to take into account, and people have to understand it's not a party. You know, the idea is to go out here and find a way to live and search for these two things, the body and the box. And there are a lot of things in the way, especially government, and this is why they've stamped labels on everything and said they own everything. And this is the importance of us understanding the treaty that they broke, because we own the land, so we have a right to be there, not these permission slips that they want us to sign up for. And they want us to act as if we're ignorant to this, you know. So we need to focus and educate ourselves so that we can go out and occupy our own desert and look for our own ancestors' remains, and look for our own property that's hidden in a mountain. Now, those of you that are on the fence, go talk about this with your Bible masters. Now, they sit there and call the white man a liar and the white man's the devil. And I've proven the lies to show that this is the promised land. And all they do is behind my back say he's a liar or a charlatan or a false prophet or whatever the hell they say, because it's behind my back and I truly don't know. All I know is the more I preach the truth and the more I don't sell my videos to some company, the more my numbers grow naturally. Now we're at 6,000 something viewers, you know, and that's great, you know, that is great, but you can never tell who's viewing, you know. So this is so there's no secret about anything, you know. This isn't some secret club. So good luck on your decisions. Pray for brains, and please go back and read. The more we understand the Old Testament and the surroundings of these areas and why they're named
what they are in the Bible, the further that we can move.